such that out of business because farmers in Kano can no longer attend to the soil. The Adejia Jamare River Basin is becoming idle. I cannot travel from Padongari to Sokoto at 1:30 a.m. as we used to do in 1985, when we will leave Mokwa at 12:45 a.m. to continue our journey. When will it be safe in Nigeria to go to Ilela or Maradi borders again? We rocked Mina to Zuba in 1986 at odd hours of the day. Olu is now occupied by non-aligned forces. Ondo forests are becoming the death knell of the southwest. Ritualists and blood-sucking demons have taken over the land. Who stole our peace? The virtues of yesterday are buried in the cesspit of avarice, greed, and irascible decadence. We in our fast-aging generation can claim we had virtues and great discipline. In this, there are nuggets of hope which our children can build for a rebirth of the nation. We can collectively resolve to make the difference and take steps towards changing the narrative. Our children certainly deserve a better and brighter future, not memories of the good old days. As an ardent believer in this drive, I therefore join my good friend, Sir Shemore Badejo, in this patriotic drive towards a greater tomorrow. Thank you.
Increase the reach of your events or business services. To advertise on Plus TV Africa, please call 0906 000 5719 or 0909 040 8408, or send an email to marketing@PlusTvAfrica.com. Plus TV Africa. Big stories live here.
Businesses in Africa can be very challenging. In Nigeria, it is particularly intimidating, and successful builders have learned how to navigate a hostile environment to unlock opportunities. But one major challenge businesses face is how to filter through the noise and identify where their ideal customers exist. Get insight and practical steps from industry players and captains of industries. Hear success stories to help you make informed decisions as you scale your business in Nigeria. Watch Business Insights at this time on Plus TV Africa.
Amazing performance by Oluwa Sheitan Olive Ogungbemi. She's a 9-year-old, a 5th grader, and she's a music artist. Thank you so much, Oluwa Sheitan. And it's our Independence Day special. Yes, so ladies, welcome. Welcome to What Are You Saying? #Ways. I am Osayome Saleh, and tonight I'm joined by the delectable Akanimo Joe, and my humble self.
Planet, it's like green, white, green.
I think we're in the spirit.
We're in the spirit.
You know, there's just something that comes with, what's it called? That comes with the independence season. It's always, you just see patriotism all the way. You know, I was driving today and I thought, where is the flags? Normally I see flags, people hawking, so until I started getting close to civilization and I started seeing the flag. But ladies, how is your day?
Do you want me to start? I'm still trying to catch my breath. I just hopped in from a wedding. Straight here.
Yeah.
In fact, very hot. I'm still catching my breath. But I made it. I made it.
So you completed the green.
Yes, so without me, imagine, without me. Just imagine what it would be like.
All right. How about you, Nama? How's your day?
My day was quite eventful. It was like back-to-back talk about Nigeria, from the platform to live audience on Instagram with the wonderful Fisayo Kunsoya talking about Nigeria and how we can move forward.
Absolutely.
As a nation. So it's been amazing. And we're here.
Absolutely.
Talking yet again.
What do you think about our young singer, the 5th grader? She's from Osun State, actually, from Nigeria. And,
my in-law.
Yeah.
I know. I know. Like, I know that I have to be related to this girl and her talent.
Yeah, what do you think about her?
But let me soak that in. I'm related to good things, but I think she is amazing. She is fantastic. Did you see her control? Did you see her coordination? She is wonderful.
Absolutely. At 9, I'm not sure I was that coordinated at all. But I mean, she just inspired hope in me today that I think we still have a chance.
Nigeria's got talent.
Talking about hope, it's our Independence Day special, and we're celebrating Nigeria at 61, and we are, trying to give hope tonight. We're not discussing too many drama. Just let us find hope. Even though some people will say hope is not a strategy, but you know what? And so here's what we found as today's quote. There is no medicine like hope, no incentive so great, and no tonic so powerful as expectations of something better tomorrow. You really can't have a better tomorrow if you are thinking about yesterday all the time. This is a quote that is accredited to Charles Kettering. That's the quote that was accredited by Charles Kettering. So whilst I agree with this quote, Nigeria, going by popular perception, has a way of dishing out additional blows that just completely dashes every single ray of hope that we have left in us as a people.
Blows, how would you have hope?
All right, so Winnie Hinn, Jemide, and Steve Harris are here to discuss Nigeria at 61. And our focus tonight is to give hope to the future generation. But first, let's take a break quickly to see what we found in the news. You're still watching Ways. Today, as you already know, is 1st of October is a special day in Nigeria as it marks her Independence Day, an official national holiday, and Nigeria's proclamation of independence from the British rule on the 1st of October 1960. So because that's our focus for tonight's conversation, we're also going to be celebrating World Smile Day. Yeah, today. So the American artist Harvey Ball is one that created the famous smiley face. His idea is to offer the opportunity for people to be conscious about the power of their smile at least one day a year. A warm smile is a universal language of kindness. That's said by Williams Arthur Ward. A smile could improve our sense of unity and forget all about our differences, culture, religion, politics, or personal beliefs. So as we attempt to give hope to Nigeria today, let's start with a very bright smile. So, nothing can go wrong today. Happy World Smile Day.
I'm yet to see someone who doesn't smile when you smile at them. If you smile long enough, it's infectious. It's infectious. It will affect you.
I have this quote, my quote, that says you should share smile with everyone because the world is already a tough cookie. Adding meanness to it is an overkill. Like every day we face challenge. Just waking up alone, you get, and it wouldn't hurt if you just go around. And just as she said, I do agree with her. If you share a smile, just imagine you're in a bus and then you just share a smile. It's so infectious. You just see the person smiling back, whatever they're thinking. Yeah, but at least they do smile back.
All right, quickly, ladies, what did we find in the news? Let's come to you, Norma, first.
All right. So today, I'm talking about food prices and what the president had to say about it. So our dear President, Major General Muhammadu Buhari, during his nationwide broadcast this morning, commemorating the nation's 61st independence, advanced the reason behind high prices of food in the country. So while alleging that the nation's food capacity had increased despite the farmer-herder crisis that had upset food supply, Buhari said the high prices of food was caused by middlemen who buy and hoard essential commodities for profiteering. So he claims that artificial shortages have caused food hike, and he's making attempts to ensure that this is taken care of. So in his address, he says that he's directing the Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development to rehabilitate the National Food Reserve Agency and also to work with security agencies.
Why are you rolling your eyes?
I'm rolling my eyes. I'm rolling my
security
eyes.
agencies
I just want her to land.
Take care of this problem. So according to him, it's those who are profiteering.
It's sad.
No, but
it's sad.
There's some element of truth. Remember when the prices of onions skyrocketed, what caused it? So it was not so much of middlemen. That was insecurity.
It was insecurity. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Uwa, because you nailed it. And you know the funny thing is that when you're addressing a nation, you're giving a national speech. Please come out with numbers. The food production has increased from what to what? What are the percentages? People are running every day away from their farms. So let's say maybe the insecurity situation has slightly improved because people are tired. I don't know. But don't tell me that it has not increased. Anybody that said it has increased, bring the numbers. And like you're talking to people, you bring the numbers. And then you're telling people are hoarding food. Okay, where's your proof? And that's why I say it's so sad.
Today
you talk to us every day. Hope. Please, today is hope.
Please. Well, let's hope.
People should not.
I'm sorry.
Don't remove my smile from my face.
I am sorry, but you can't be coming to us and be talking like this.
Well,
it's just not
actually,
okay at this level.
Actually very hinged on insecurity, not so much of.
You come with no numbers.
But let's take your story.
To us. I'm so sorry. It's very upsetting.
It doesn't work today.
Sorry, this one is not going to give you hope.
Yeah.
Let me just warn you.
Okay.
So my story is taken from the People's Gazette, and it's talked about CBN suspending the e-Naira rollout. So today, they were supposed to launch the e-Naira rollout, and let me just give a summary. So they said the reason why they could not go ahead with it, because they suspended it a few hours, like I think late yesterday, was because there are too many activities lined up for today. So they don't want to spoil it for us. How many activities are you saying, sister? So they don't want to spoil it for us, and that's why they said that they should hold it. I think they're not ready.
the celebration of the independence.
Yes, I think they have not worked it
activities.
out. I think they've not got the buy-in of the main people that will help it push it. That is what I think. So, personal opinion. Again, anybody bring data. Let us all.
But
agree.
it's a matter of time. Let's see. Let's see how
and then
it turns out.
you know, there's this argument about is the INARA another wallet that we all have? Because I don't know. Are you not doing electronic transfer? Are you not going to markets to do electronic? Are you even on the Bado Express? Are you not transferring?
Nigerian e-transfer.
So I don't know whether the
On that note,
digital. See, I don't know how me to talk.
Hope.
Until some other time when we can talk about this.
Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Okay.
Let the guests come in now. Is there?
Politics has helped shape the decision of the polity, from conspiracy theories to good old-fashioned comic politics.
These are the result of tomorrow's election. Okay, you have it already, Abi.
I am not hungry. If I need appointment, all I need to do is to start praising government.
Plus, politics will fill the polls of the country, from friends to frenemies, even strange bedfellows, to clones and stooges. We go beyond the rhetorics and the drama to analyze the story behind the story.
Let anybody come and say.
The moment we stop having charlatans occupy political offices, we will curtail hate speech.
Plus Politics, not just another political show, it's about putting you, the citizens, in the know.
Welcome to The Breakfast.
A breakfast where we unbundle top and big stories of the day.
Is vaccine the only way out of this pandemic?
No, definitely not.
Many Ghanaians just want a peaceful election and they are hoping there will be no rigging.
There is nothing bad in borrowing for infrastructure. The minister added that he was impressed.
Please come and see yourself what we are doing with the money we have borrowed.
It's very important. The way we brand ourselves is the way people will carry us.
It's just the driver of the two vehicles that were completely burned. This one was here screaming.
What do you recommend the government do to support this sector?
Direct intervention, that's what every government all over the world has done.
We are not a parallel security structure. A multiple core is a complementary core.
What I will not encourage Christians to do is to carry dagger and follow anybody. No.
Join us on The Breakfast, 7 a.m., Monday to Friday.
Thanks for staying with us. Now, a weakening economy, rising insecurities, and violent conflict threatens progress made in its democratic development. Amidst deepening distrust in government and institutions, Nigeria has significant work to do in improving national, state, and local security and governance. Nigeria is faced with an unprecedented wave of different but overlapping security crises, from kidnapping to extremist insurgencies. Almost every corner of the country has been hit by violence and crime. Some have linked the recent surge of insecurity to the staggering poverty across the country. So as we mark our 61st year as an independent nation, what hope can we give not just ourselves, but the coming generation behind us. Now, let us hear what you have to say. Remember, you can join the conversation. Send us an SMS or WhatsApp to 081-803-8463. I just want to hear 1 second. Do you have any hope you want to give?
Hope. I give hope.
How are you?
You caught me there. Well, while we're still alive, we cannot lose hope. I don't have any other citizenship. So.
Absolutely. So let me bring in our guest. Steve Harris, fondly called Mr. Ruthless Execution, is privileged to be a trusted authority in the fields of life and business strategy. He is a highly sought-after management consultant, business accelerator, and author, and is the Chief Executive Officer of Education. Oh, God have mercy on me. Now, Steve is regarded as one of Africa's leading business coaches, and it's a privilege to be hosting him live with us in studio. Thank you so much for joining us, Steve Harris.
Finally get into the studio.
Ah, yes. So let me just quickly bring in our second guest. Winnie Jemide is a multi-portfolio entrepreneur with her doctorate of professional studies in view. She is a confident and articulate speaker who authored the coffee table book, Imagine a Garden, and hosts a weekly virtual garden tour called Welcome to My Garden under the 7-year platform, the Winnie Jemide series. She powers research advocacy in the areas of women, youth in governance and politics from the lenses of equality and inclusion. The focus of her work tackles the often overlooked subject of ageism and sexism within the global electoral process. And she's joined in live from the UK. Thank you so much, Winnie, for joining us.
It's lovely to be here. You all look extremely elegant.
Oh,
and
thank you so much.
I am in excellent company.
Thank you so much. We are honored to have both of you in studio. But let me come to Steve. So Nigeria has a myriad of problems. Yeah. So we can't overlook our challenges. So sometimes people that preach the spirit of hope or whatever, they think we're being stupid. They think, they will go with the, I know PK would always say hope is not a strategy, and all of that. But can we truly find hope amidst all of these things that we're currently facing in Nigeria? And is it worth having that hope to hold on to something to say things will change at 61?
I know it does sound daunting, and I have to sigh to think about the good things to say, but the truth is there is hope.
Absolutely.
And it may not look like much, but you don't need a lot of hope. I mean, the beautiful thing about light is that you don't need a lot of light to come out of darkness.
Absolutely.
All you need is just a flicker. You know what I mean? So it might be candlelight. It may not be sunlight. It might be candlelight, but it's enough to get somebody out of darkness. And I think with all the darkness going on, it's our responsibility to look for the pockets of light that are in the nation who are illuminating the way. And for that, I think we should be grateful. Absolutely. Absolutely.
So let me come to Winnie and I'll come to you ladies. Winnie, so if you had one area to look out for in Nigeria to say, you know what, this is what not losing hope on, what would that focus be on?
I like the fact that you reference a future generation. And for me, I think that there has been a dearth in storytelling. And it is difficult to hope in a future when you haven't had the past clearly articulated. And so when Steve talks about pockets of light, I call it points of light. And when the points of light come together, it can only become a blazing inferno in its brightness. And that brightness is fueled by storytelling. A future generation, I have 4 children, and my children are, 3 of the 4 are pan-Nigerian. And they age between, so 3 are in their 20s, and then I have a baby who's a teenager. And I've found that what has given them a sense of pan-Nigerianism, what has given them a true sense of self, what has stirred them, made them want to come home, has been the fact that I've steeped them in stories, in the stories of the generations who've gone before, in the stories of their ancestors, in the stories of who they are and where they come from. And every time I have young people gathered around and I begin to tell stories, the response is always, we didn't know this. And you can see the gait change. You can see people stand a little taller. You can see shoulders square. But we must tell our stories, even when the stories are difficult to hear.
Absolutely. You want to come in?
Okay, so I do like how the boat started, and it just gives a lot of hope listening that you do not need. I think what struck me really is that we do not need a lot of light. We do not need sunlight. We just need a flicker or a point, whatever she calls it. But another thing he said was the aggregation of this, because that's where the strength lies. But with all the diversity that is happening, and we're going farther and farther apart, if you look at what is happening now, every sub-region is trying to establish itself separate from the whole. Do you think we'd get to that point where there's this aggregation that would happen and maybe just shine us through what we're going through?
Well, I think so. I mean, I think that there are a lot of things that unite us than those that divide us. I'll give you a practical example. Whether somebody is in the east or in the north or the west, presently we're all bound by the price of gas, which has gone up. All of us are bound by the price of food that has become more expensive. We're all connected because we've all got similar pain. We may not seemingly have a lot to celebrate because we're all looking at our differences, but we need to ask ourselves, what do we have in common? Right now we have a common pain. Right now we all want Nigeria to be better. And I think if we can articulate these simple things and say, look, I don't care where you're from. I don't care whether you're from East Coast, West Coast, North, or South. What do we have that bind us together? Think about it this way. When you're on a plane, you never ask where the pilot is from. You just want to get to your destination. When we were children, we're in school, we never asked, oh, are you Muslim or are you Christian? We just sat together and had a pretty good time. And I think a lot of the things that divide us are man-made. And if we sit back and come together and say, who really is a Nigerian? What binds us together? Because I really don't think yet that we've been able to say, this is who a Nigerian is. If you look at the Americans, they can say, someone from Texas doesn't identify himself as a Texan, or someone from Jersey, or someone from New York.
Yeah, an American.
They're American. And they say, oh, the land of the free, the home of the brave, and the whole 9 yards. So that's what binds them, freedom, justice, liberty for all. But we've not been able to decide that for what a Nigerian is, which is why we have all these agitations.
Wow. Wow. I mean, I'm hearing all of this, and what's going on in my mind is that there's been so much talk going on, and maybe I'll direct this to there's so much talk going on about, see if you can chip in, because I would love to hear your opinion about it, but it's the action part that's my problem. We're talking and we're stipulating, there's hope. How is this going to be executed? What do we need to start doing now? In place of, I'm not even talking about the government or all of those people we can't reach right now. I'm talking about Nigerians.
As a people.
What can we begin to do as a people to begin to see the Nigeria of our dreams? What can we start implementing every single day in our everyday living to begin to see the Nigeria that we want to see?
Well, Nigeria is a concept. And in order for us to see that concept come to life, we must take responsibility. Mm-hmm. We've all got to say, what's the Nigeria we want? If I may use this example, when you looked at the NSAS protest, we saw people gather together, and they came together for one particular mission. They had a purpose, they had a goal, and they wanted to have their voices heard. Now, it didn't matter whether you were protesting beside a Muslim or a Christian. It didn't matter. Yeah. What really mattered was we have a problem and we want something different. And all of us put religion, tribe, gender
aside.
We put them all aside, because now there was a vision that was more compelling to us. There was a goal. So the problem is, I think, as Nigerians, we need to come together and say, what is the vision that is much bigger than where we are? China has a vision. The United States has a vision. I know we talk about, Vision 2020 and this, that, and the other, but then again, sometimes I can see you rolling your eyes there, right? But ultimately, I think, if the people don't have a buy-in into the vision, please allow me to just use this example very quickly. We've read about the story of the Tower of Babel, where they were constructing, and God got upset and came down and just scattered the whole place. But here's the beautiful thing about it. God said, he said the people were of one mind. Now, what does that mean? It means that to the bricklayer or the mason, if you asked, what is our vision? That mason will say, our vision is to build a tower that would reach the heavens. But if you asked him, if we could go back in time, what's your role in this vision? He would say, my job is to make the bricks that will be used to build the tower that would reach the heavens. If you met somebody whose job was to fetch water, and you asked, what was our vision? He would say, our vision is to build a tower that will reach the heavens. What's your role in being able to make this happen? My job is I'm the guy who provides the water so that the building can be built. So all of us need to be able to look at it and say, they all knew their place, but we don't know our place. And that's what we need to do.
That's what we need to do. Let me come to Winnie for a second, because you are in the media space, storytelling, movies, and all of that. What role do you think we can, because I know some movies are beginning to take on that responsibility to include, because you talked about storytelling. Storytelling remains one of the strongest things that can actually transform an entire generation, because if you know your history, if you know where you're coming from, you're able to, project where you're going. Absolutely. You know the mistakes, where you made mistakes, and how to push forward. But I don't know if we still have Winnie in, but it seems like we lost her. But okay, you're there? Mm-hmm. So what role do you think storytelling and, the media space can begin to start to take on those roles? I love what Steve said about having clarity of the role that you play. What do you think our role is for us in the media space, for us in the public eye? Mm-hmm. How can we bring this great Nigeria that we are all yearning for to life?
I think it's already begun, and you've alluded to that. So if you look at documentaries like that done by Olashukwu Shashore,
yes.
And I think it was called The Making of a Colony.
Yeah.
That really, really stirred up such a strong Nigerian sentiment in my heart, because it told the story from an angle that I had never heard. So, for instance, I didn't realize that when the British came to take down the colony known thereafter as Lagos, it took them weeks to be able to actually get the Lagos to retreat. And they actually had to go and get some air power to do that. And that's what I mean by the power of stories. Because if you understand that there was a time before we were one, and this is not a dissenting story, it is actually a story that helps you first self-identify as a group before becoming part of a whole. And so this takes me to something that Steve was saying, where he was talking about what are our commonalities. Sometimes we thrive in our differences. We understand who we are as different people. And in that understanding and in that realization and in that pride, we come and then become a cohesive part of a whole. So if you know that in the different pockets of what is now Nigeria, there was monarchy, there was parliament, there was government, there was the judiciary, there was military. We were not a people running ragged. Each of these people were functioning in completeness before we were made a whole. There's such a sense of pride in that story when I hear it. And so, yes, the media plays a really strong role, but we, while we wait for the sort of funding that is required to be able to bring the stories to the theater, we can tell the stories in smaller groups. We can tell, the stories in settings such as this tonight. We don't have to wait until that happens. Parents telling children. During the lockdown, I'm one of those blessed people whose mother lives with her. And during the lockdown, my children had an opportunity to record grandma. And the stories began in the early 40s. She was born in the 30s, but from her memory, and then brought us all the way up to the Civil War. And some of those stories, like I said, are difficult. But as we continue to hear them, we then understand who we are, understand where we have come from, and that sense of dignity that gives you hope just because of who I am and the stock that I come from. So I know my stories going back 4 generations. And it's just It has to keep being told so it concretizes through documentaries, through small segments like what you're doing, and through the big screen and theater as well. But I've said the word stories about 1,000 times.
I was going to come to Steve, though. So I love what Winnie is saying. And that documentary you talked about, Shashare's documentary on Netflix, yes, it was really eye-opening. But you see, the challenge I have now, let's marry education and how people, because you see, the biggest problem they say we have today is the grassroots. Right? So you cannot give a grassroots in Netflix to watch that documentary. You actually need to have some level of understanding of English and understand. You need to be able to break it down. Even for those that are learned, it's difficult for them to even articulate some of the narratives there. So how do we preach in the simplest language hope to the man on the street to say, you know what, this is your role towards building a better Nigeria for tomorrow? How do we do that?
So let me use this analogy. So we all have, we say we're trying to reach the grassroots, but then we need to remember we all have roots in the grass. And what I mean by that is I have a security guard. I've got a driver. I've got a housekeeper. I've got people that I am responsible for. I've got family and friends. Now, as someone who is privileged, quote unquote, or in the middle class, I have a responsibility because I have influence, I have power, I have money, and I can, so to speak, educate them and say, for example, if I don't go out to vote, my housekeeper is going to vote. You know what I mean? And I have the power, allow me to say this, I have the power to influence her votes.
Of course.
And I can say, look, if you don't vote for this candidate, heck it, you lose your job. If we all take that responsibility and stop being so bougie and stop being so aloof, because unfortunately we are the best pundits. Everyone knows the problem of Nigeria. We can articulate that from now till sundown. But the point really is this: are we taking responsibility? What are we doing to those that we have the power to influence, our brothers, our sisters, our siblings, our WhatsApp school alumni, whatever the case may be, and have those conversations to say, look, you've got to take responsibility. Yes, the guy who is at the end of the day, when the rubber meets the road and it's time to vote, he's going to be incentivized with a bag of rice or something little, and unfortunately, a bag is too much, and election costs are unfortunately rising. But if we then decide, because to be honest, the middle class is really what's holding what Nigeria is today, because we're the gap between the rich and the poor, and unfortunately,
we're the ones that suffer the most.
We're the ones who suffer the most.
And guess what? We are thinning out.
Exactly.
Of course, a lot of us are running out of the country.
So, and unfortunately, if you don't, so it's like we're the buffer, and we have that responsibility to educate, to take responsibility for these people, and tell them, look, this is the way we think you should do it, and if you're already paying school fees for your housekeepers, children, you're paying your driver, giving him this, that, and the, I mean, come on, you already have the power to influence them.
Okay, you know what? Let's quickly go on a very short break. When we return from the break, we'll continue the conversation. Stay with us. We'll be right back. If you just tuned in, we're having an amazing chat with Steve and Winnie on Nigeria at 61 as we give hope to the future generation. Now, let us hear what you have to say. Remember, you can join the conversation. Send us an SMS or WhatsApp to 081-803-84663. All right, so we're going to come to AK, right? I was coming to AK.
Thank you. I was hoping you point. So I like all the talk that's been going on. And really, forget that I'm on this show. I think this is what we need to hear. Now, we have always been talking about the future, and I love the power of storytelling. Remember when we talked about education, and we talked about how strong the power of storytelling is. I think when my daughter came back from school one day, she said, Mommy, do you know that the British took away our language? And, for some reason, I was happy about that. There is some level, but how many, let's even leave that, how many people have the privilege to send their children to school? So I'm well over 30 years, and
you don't look it, girl.
Yeah, thank you very much. Should we cut this back? And then we have always, for as long as I can remember, I've always heard about the future.
We are the
And that's why
future
when you talked about
generation.
2020, I had to roll my eyes, because I remember when I was so young, ahead of 2020, I had so much hope.
Yeah.
I thought it was so far. But I'm here in 2020,
Yeah.
and things have gotten worse.
True.
So what is this future? When is this future? When are we going to get there? For me, it essentially is, what is the future? Because I can't see it.
Yeah.
I can't. Education is, the level is, I don't know what to say of the public system,
Deplorable.
because that's where you look at.
Yeah.
That's where the majority is. So what really, do we really have a future? Look at our president. The president before is still president now. Same powers, same people that I knew as a child are still in power. So what is the future?
Okay, I'm joining you people to say. Look, all I can say is that what other choice do we have? You know what I mean? What other choice do we have? How many nations have survived 2 civil wars? How much more one? We can't afford to go into some conflagration. We have to be able to sit down together and say, what are the things that unite us? And I think that future is really simple things. We need to have electricity that runs 24/7. We're not even asking for 24/7 Wi-Fi, just give us lights. You know what I mean? But I really do think that ultimately it's you and I. Ultimately it's you and I. We already are our government. You know what I mean? You're taking care of your power, you're taking care of your security, you're taking care of your education.
Your roads. We
your
just
roads.
completed the road in my estate.
You know what I mean? You're already doing that, you know. But ultimately, at the end of the day, you know, I always tell people this. I say, when the people are tired of being tired, and they're angry for not being angry enough, we'll have a new Nigeria.
I like Winnie to put in a word on this question that AK asked. Winnie, are you there?
I am indeed. I am indeed. I'm going to just extend from what Steve has said. Sorry, my hand's wobbling a bit, but I'm going to extend from what he said. The power of the vote. So one of my platforms is Women and Youth in Governance and Politics. And I started that in 2013 when I heard of this young parliamentarian, a female, who had run for office and won. She ran at 17 and was sworn in at 18, and at the time was the youngest ever in the world, and she was African. And I was so persuaded by the story that I wondered how many other African girls would want to play in this space. And Steve, you've talked about the power of the vote. I wish there was a way in which we could not only vote in, but also vote out. So that if we hold you to your word and you say, this is what it is that you are going to give us within a certain time frame of your being in office, and you haven't achieved it, we can vote you out. Okay. Now, this is a fantasy, right? But the idea that if all of us boycott or rally behind, we can actually see what we want coming into office. And so as we look towards 2023, and we're rallying our households together, as Steve has said, let us rally with that in mind, that before we say, you are worth my vote. And I know that this might sound elitist because, of course, like you said, Steve, for a cup of rice or whatever, they are buying votes. But if us and our households, and if we get our households to influence their extended families as well, then we're building villages of voters. So not just myself, my children who can vote, and my husband, but my cook, my driver, my son, and then their families as well, and their families and their families. So if we hold our own town hall meetings where we can influence, each one of us committing to influence 200, 250, 300 people within our extended community, I hazard that there might be a difference to the outcome.
This is a deep it's
so,
yeah.
Forgive me, but just to even piggyback off what you
Go
said.
ahead.
So there's the outside approach, which is going out to vote, but then there's the inside approach, which is being part of the selection process. So how many of us are in parties? Most of us are not. You know, let me give you an example. So this glass of water is the political system, and we're on the outside in, and we're shouting, we need to change this water. This water is dirty. We need to get rid of this water. This water is dirty. Nothing changes by shouting. If you want to change the color of the water, you have to pour water into it. If this is Coca-Cola and that's water, and we want to be able to dilute this, we need to pour water into the glass. Enough water. So my point is, a critical mass of us may not necessarily agree with the ideologies of either party or any of the other parties, but we must get involved. Because if a critical mass of us get involved, we can distill and submerge the system and then flush out the ones that we don't want and then begin to put our own ideologies.
Okay, since you went there.
Okay.
You want to say something? Please go ahead.
I was going to ask a question towards leadership.
Right.
Now, we've seen the crop of leaders we've had from 1960 up until now. And for one reason or the other, they fall short because of probably promises that they've given, and at the end of the day, we don't see those things come to light. How can we actually begin to raise the right kind of leaders? Because we've talked about the people who are led, you know, the individuals like you and I, the people that we have influence over. What about the people who are taking these responsibilities up? How can we begin to look out for the right kind of leaders who would go out there and actually be responsible and accountable to the people that they're supposedly leading in such a way that people can see this change reflect in their own lives? Part of what we're seeing now is a level of hopelessness in the lives of people. Like you rightly said, we are our government. At what point does that change, and how does it change? What's the process that brings in that change in the first place by what we begin to do today?
Right.
Because I'm all about practical. What can people start doing now to change the realities that we want to see in the future? We're tired of all of this talk. When is the action going to start?
So like what Wemi said, you know, the little pockets of lights, there are people around the nation who are doing things in terms of capacity building for leaders. I'm literally coming from a meeting called the Electoral College, where young Nigerians or even slightly older who are interested in leadership and government we're deliberating on certain things that they need to do, and there are different pockets of light doing that. But you know, and this is where I said we need to take responsibility and stop pontificating, because here's the problem: when you or I decide to come out and run. So let's give an example. Banky W came out to run for some elective position. Like, I beg, what does he know? He's just a musician. She won't start from estate chairman. We're the ones who will cut him down, and we'll say we don't want the politicians. But what does Banky know? Let Banky go and start from estate chairman first. But you want change? That's not going to happen. If blind faith, or so to speak, not participating, has led us to this brink, then why don't we? Please allow me to use this metaphor. I'm not a woman, clearly. I have no experience in giving birth, clearly. But let me give you a real example. One day I was invited to speak at a relationship event, and there were married women and all those wonderful things. And it was about how to make your marriage great. And so I wasn't married at the time. So when I was done, brought down the house, chandeliers, the whole nine yards. And a lady says to me, she says, young man. You know, when they start with young man, that means you're totally, you're done. So she was like, you're just totally undone. No, you don't know nothing. So she was like, young man, great speech. Are you married? Wow. I said, no, not yet. She said, because I was looking at your finger, I didn't see a ring. She said, well, this thing you're saying is theory. Maybe when you've been married for 5 years, come back. Then I asked her, I said, do you mind if I speak? She said, sure, go right ahead. I said, are you married? She said, yeah. I said, you've got kids? She said, yeah. I said, do you mind me asking, did you give birth at home or did you go to a hospital? So I went to the hospital. I said, what was the sex of your doctor? And I know in Nigeria, historically it's male.
Yes.
So she said, he's a man. I said, so you're telling me that you went
And you asked him
to
a
give
question.
a man, you went to meet a man to deliver your baby.
Has he ever given birth?
Has he ever given birth? That does the man have experience? Does he have experience being pregnant? She said no. I said, so what you did was that you trusted a man to deliver your baby. So what is the point? When it comes to delivery, you're not looking for a man who has experience being pregnant. You're looking for a man that has expertise in delivering babies. So we should take that to say, we're not looking for people who have been politicians. We're looking for people who have expertise
in
managing people
and
building
resources.
Absolutely.
Thank you. I think we'll leave it. Wait, we've run out of time. But you know what? Let me quickly take Wihini's final words because we need to bring in. Yes, we have to do a part 2. Don't worry. We need to take Sheitan's song. You know, but we're trying to get her ready. Wihini, if you're there, just if you had one final thing to say, you know. Oh, did we lose her? Okay, Steve. What do you want to tell him, please?
No, I wanted to take it to another level, but let's just let
that level. We'll bring him back up because you know I have a grouse with Steve.
What did I do?
I have a grouse with Steve because the group of these people you've mentioned.
Yes.
I remember there was a perfect opportunity for us to form a third force rather when it comes to politics and all of that and governance and in 2019?
2019.
We didn't take up that opportunity.
Yeah.
Who is we?
He knows them. We didn't take up the opportunity. So why? You know, why do we need to?
No, we need to bring him back.
But we need to bring you back.
Questions about.
But do you want to quickly answer
and
that?
Continuity. I mean, they wait till elections before they start seeing
I can
things.
see the producer strangling.
Yeah, they're strangling me.
But let's just.
Sadly, you know what? Do you want to say something to that?
No, not right now.
So I caught you there. So let me bring in Sheitan to serenade us with another wonderful song. But we'll first of all go on a very short break. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Businesses in Africa can be very challenging. In Nigeria, it is particularly intimidating, and successful builders have learned how to navigate a hostile environment to unlock opportunities. But one major challenge businesses face is how to filter through the noise and identify where their ideal customers exist. Get insight and practical steps from industry players and captains of industries. Hear success stories to help you make informed decisions as you scale your business in Nigeria. Watch Business Insights at this time on PlusTvAfrica.
Here we stand as a people with one song, with one voice. We're a nation undivided and poised. We will take a stand to build our land with faith, to defend what is ours. Here we are as a people with one heart, for one cause. We're determined to rebuild and restore. Where the freedom reigns and truth prevails, a land where there's hope for us all. A land where there's hope for us all. We're all we have. We'll defend our land. We believe in this nation, and we know we'll get there. We're all we have. We'll defend our land. We believe in Nigeria and the promise she holds, and that one day will shine like the sun. We're a great nation. Happy Independence Day, Nigeria.
God, I have good forms. Now that is hope.
Oh my.
That is hope.
I'm forever grateful to Timmy
I'm
Dakolo
telling you.
for that
Shaita, thank
wonderful
you
song.
so
Thank
much.
you, Shaita.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Amazing.
So what do you want to say to Nigeria, Shaita?
I'm just going to start saying Happy Independence Day, Nigeria. Happy birthday, Nigeria. Well, I just hope Nigeria is going to be better in the future, and I just have hope in Nigeria. So happy Independence Day, everyone.
Thank you so much. All right, so before we go, thank you so much, Steve Harris. We had an amazing conversation. Thank you, Wehini. Thank you, AK. Thank you, Nomar. Thank you, Shaitan. This is really, for us, we'll keep the hope alive. We'll continue to drive the right conversations. And hopefully, by God's grace, we will get a better Nigeria. So before we go, do ensure you follow us on Instagram. It's at PlusTvAfrica. Like, share, comment, and interact with us. We're planning a giveaway to say thank you to you for believing in the Ways brand, so do well to follow us. It's at PlusTvAfrica. So if you missed our quote today, here it is again. There is no medicine like hope, no incentive so great, and no tonic so powerful as expectation of something better tomorrow. This is something you should hold on to. We'll see you live. It's Friday next week as we bring another great conversation to you. So all of us, let's go. Happy Independence Day. Happy Independence Day, Nigeria.